afternoon. I'm Captain Fandrich. I'm the commander of the West Chatham precinct, and we're just going to go through the PowerPoint that we have presented to go over the stats for what we have encountered over the last year. Esquina, are you okay? This chart shows that in last year we had a decrease in property crimes by about 11.6%. However, we had an increase in violent crimes on the west side. It was a slight increase, but it was an increase. Our stats for non-domestic aggravated assaults rose drastically in 2020. We went from 35 in 2019 to 62 in 2020. We had 30 domestic aggravated assaults and homicides. Rapes and forced penetration was at 27, and then our robberies were at 31. Last year we had 210 out of, well, we had 236 entering autos in West Chatham, and 210 of those vehicles were left unlocked and unsecured. 55 of the 107 had keys left in them, and 3 of those 55 were left running in the driveway, and that led to, you know, easy pickings for criminals on the move out there. So this is a map of where guns were stolen out of cars. We had 26 from West Chatham during 2020 where cars were entered and guns were stolen. 4 in the Westlake neighborhood, 2 in Fenwick, 3 in the Quaco area neighborhood, 4 in Sugar Mill, and then 6 down in Georgetown. We placed flyers out, you know, in front of all these neighborhoods. Please do not leave firearms in unlocked vehicles, and please secure your cars. We're still asking for people to please secure their vehicles at all times and never leave a firearm in there. The next few slides are just kind of beat maps where how our west side is divided up, and you can review all these on the PowerPoint that's going to be saved in the presentation. This one's showing just a breakdown of the neighborhoods and how we were and how the stats add up. The white numbers are shoplifting, the yellow are other property crimes, and then the red is the violent crimes. And that's just a breakdown by neighborhood, such as in Lamarville, we had, in the Westlake area, we had 1 shoplifting, 70 other property crimes, and 26 violent crimes. Georgetown was 6 shopliftings, 85 other property crimes, and 7 violent crimes. So, and that's just a breakdown by neighborhood. As you can see, Highway 17 and 204, that's our largest shoplifting area, and that's mainly due to Walmart in the area. Our SET team, our strategic enforcement team, they're directed to work problem areas. Their work is usually guided by our crime stats. They're intelligence driven, so they could be hitting different neighborhoods every day or every night or several neighborhoods a night. They're usually on the lookout for entering autos. They've been doing a lot of drug work in the 95 and 204 area and stuff like that. So, of course, we are very proud of our community engagements. We have officers out in the residents talking, in the neighborhoods talking to residents and business owners every day. We encourage them to make contacts with citizens out there. During 2020, officers made 4,253 citizen contacts for the year, just by getting out and talking and meeting the public. And we have to give a lot of kudos to our neighborhood liaison officer, Esquina White, because she does a lot with community engagements and organizing events for us to become involved with our communities. This is just a breakdown of where all the citizen contacts have occurred in the neighborhoods and throughout Chatham County. This is our precinct management staff, of course me, and our 4 lieutenants that are in charge of our 4 watches. And the sergeants that are assigned to the watches and work out of the West Chatham precinct. And now I believe they'll open up the floor to questions.
This is Betsy Nolan. I'm the PIO for the Chatham County Police Department, and we're pleased to have several of our Chatham County commissioners on with us this evening. Commissioners, we don't want to put you on the spot, but we would like to give you the opportunity, if there's anything you would like to say before we get into question and answer, you can just raise your hand down there at the bottom, and we'll be happy to let you have the floor for a moment, or of course, if you would like to speak during the Q&A as well. So if you just raise your hand on the icons that you see on your screen, we'll be happy to unmute your mic for you. I do not see any hands at this point. Chief, would you like to say a few words just kind of about where we are right now as we move into, actually as we have a new year underway here at the department?
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Betsy. And first of all, I want to thank Captain Fandridge and her team for putting together this presentation and all the hard work that they do on a daily basis on the west side of Chatham County. I believe I saw Commissioner Whiteley and Commissioner Milton who joined us this evening. Thank you so much for you participating tonight and being supportive of us and our work to go forward. I think we've had a fairly good year in West Chatham, really in all of Chatham. I hate to segment it just for West Chatham. Certainly some challenges with COVID and some of the hurdles that it presented to us relative to community engagement and how we approach policing in this community. But I think our officers adjusted very well. They've just been very committed and forthright, and to the extent that they could go out and engage the community. As you saw, there was over 4,000 contacts in Chatham County that they did on their own. A little bit of prompting by us, but this was just them getting out of their car on their own volition and trying to engage the community in a variety of ways. So I'm really proud of that fact, and want to thank the officers that get out and do that on a daily basis. We look forward to 2021 and building the department even better than we have. Just as a reminder, you know, we've been up and running since February 1st of 2018. So we're a 3-year-old department, give or take, with a lot of experience and a lot of good people that populate our ranks, but we still got more work to do. I like to say we're still putting Humpty Dumpty back together again, but I do think that we're providing some value-added service to the citizens of the unincorporated parts of Chatham County, and we continue to look to build upon that work as we go forward. So without anything else substantive to say, certainly be happy to answer any questions that anybody has about our work or what we look forward to, or anything else that we can address for the citizens and or commissioners that are on this call.
Chief, Commissioner Milton had her hand raised, and I'm going to see if she's still available. Commissioner Milton, we have unmuted your micro, giving you the ability to unmute yourself and to speak, if you see that there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening. This is awesome. The numbers are good. I guess Chief, I guess you'll have to determine how good they are. But I did take some notes, and I want to know, is that PowerPoint available? Are the slides available that she just showed us?
Yes, ma'am. One, we can post them. Betsy, can we post that on our website or have?
Yes, sir. This meeting is actually going to be is going to live on our website. So yes, you'll be able to do that, and we can send it out as well to our commissioners as an FYI.
Yeah, if we could send that through the county manager and ask him to forward, or send it to me and I will forward it to Manager Smith and ask him to send it to all the commissioners so they're privy to this PowerPoint.
Okay.
I don't know that Commissioner Whiteley is still on the line, but we had just recently had a little bit of dialogue about I-95 and 204. And you kind of spoke to that a little bit. Can you, is it the hotels? Is it the area? I do know that you've got work going on in those areas. I just wanted to get a little bit more detailed on what's really happening or what possibly could happen with us all working together.
Yes, ma'am. I'd be happy to answer that question. That is a problem area for us, as we know. We did have a meeting with Commissioner Whiteley a couple weeks ago relative to that specific area. The hotels obviously are a challenge. It's very transient. Their screening process for their folks that they allow to stay there, I think probably there may be some work that we could do there with them to try to limit, some of the activity there. As you know, I think it's out there that there's been some overdoses over there in that area because of some of the lower end hotels tend to attract, that clientele. Our officers have done fantastic with administering Narcan. I think we had three saves a couple weeks ago in a short amount of time, but we're working with CNT to develop some strategies to have an impact on that over there as well. There are some homeless camps that pop up in and around there that present problems as well. Esquina White's been fantastic working with business owners and or property owners to try to get them moved off property. But at the same time, we certainly let them know or make them aware of the resources that are available to them, whether it be shelters, food, things of that nature, so they can try to get back up on their feet. So it does continue to be a problem. I wish we had a silver bullet or a magic answer, but we are very cognizant, and we are over there fairly steadily trying to get a grip on it.
Well, I want to personally thank you for getting the house moved as quickly as you did. We had a house sitting in the middle of the Hart Street in Lamarville, and the neighbors were ecstatic. Now I've got a halo because you helped to get that taken care of, and I thank you for that. And hopefully we won't have many more of those issues like that. But I just want to thank you for helping me with that.
Yes, ma'am. Anytime.
And we have a question now from another one of our attendees, Bryce Hannon. Would you like to unmute and ask your question, please?
Yes, I think I'm unmuted. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm part of the Hampton Place neighborhood, and I wanted to know, I know a couple of neighbors were all wondering, if anything had been done about the situations that occurred. I think last year, I can't remember what months, but I know we had like some back-to-back shootings, and I know we just never heard anything else about it. So are you guys able to provide us an update or not?
Tell me where Hampton Place is located.
Hampton Place is off of Quaco Road. It's right next to Berwick Lakes and across from the Chevron gas station.
Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am, we can provide an update. I don't have the latest and greatest update. I don't know, Squeena or Cat Fanders, do you have that?
I do not have that, Chief. I haven't followed up. I haven't been able to follow up with detectives on that incident. I know they were following several leads in reference to that. Basically, I believe it was an isolated incident where the occupants knew anything. It wasn't a random act.
Okay, thank you so much.
Ms. Hannon, we'll get some more information. And if you could, I don't know if, well, I don't want you to, you don't have to put your contact stuff out on this, but we'll find a way to make contact with you and get you more detailed information. Esquina, can you do that?
Yes, I have her contact information, so I'll follow up with her.
Okay, thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Whiteley, I believe you have your hand raised as well. And if you would unmute your microphone, we're ready for your comment or question.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to, I wanted to say thank you guys for your service, and I wanted to kind of speak to the issues at 204 and Gateway. For anybody who is watching, I do just want to let them know that we are, as commissioners, looking at some different avenues in which we can help the situation. So I just want the community to know that we're trying to burn this candle on both ends, whether it be administratively, potential policy measures, as well as what Chief and what Chatham County Police and CNT have going on. So I definitely want to make sure that we all understand that it is a sensitive subject, and we don't want to necessarily hinder any investigations and stuff like that. So I'm sure that there is going to be limited information. However, I do want to assure the public that we are looking at multiple solutions, not just sicking the police on it. That was all I had. But again, thank you guys for your service.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. And Orrin Kilgore, you've had your hand raised. If you will, let's see. Looks like we're having a little bit of trouble with your connection, so we're going to work on that, and we will come back to you. Stand by, please. And Tamara Conley Perez, you also have your hand raised. You should be able to see. It looks like we're having an issue with older versions of Zoom, but we're going to work on that and get your questions, or if you'd like to send them to us in a chat, we can get to them as well. We do have a question that someone wrote in on our chat feature, and they would like to know what efforts are being made to monitor for human trafficking. Chief, were you able to hear that question?
Yes. So relative to human trafficking, we have had a few cases that we've investigated. They were a little bit ago, maybe a year and a half ago. One thing that might be noteworthy is that they are establishing a Hope Court, which deals with human trafficking specifically. There's going to be a human trafficking protocol that hopefully will be approved by all the Chatham County area chiefs. So that kind of gives some prompts in terms of if we come across a human trafficking situation, how do we direct that information? Who do we get it to? What do we do with the potential victims, and make the court aware of that situation so they can intervene on behalf of the victims. So there is some significant work that's being done on that. It's in the early stages, but I think it is promising work, and hopefully it can have an impact on the problem as we go forward.
Thank you, Chief. Orrin Kilgore typed in a question and says, our HOA prevents boats, trailer, and work vehicles from being stored in residents' driveways, and to get around this, some residents are actually moving this and their sports equipment out onto the streets, and is there anything that we can do about this? So rather than parking in the driveway, they're moving the equipment into the roadway.
I'm going to ask Assistant Chief Shoup. He actually did a tremendous amount of work on updating our county ordinances, some of them dealing specifically with vehicles in the roadway, which tends to be, ironically, one of our most significant complaints along with traffic across the county. Chief Shoup, can you weigh in on that a little bit?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we passed some county ordinances talking about expired tags and derelict vehicles and stuff parked on the streets and all. It sounds to me like these are not derelict. If they're work trucks and trailers, what we'd need to do is get over there and maybe have a screen and go over there and get with the HOAs, because I would say if the neighborhoods are not allowing them to park in the driveways, there's probably something in the evidence that says that they can't park on the street as well. But we'll get in there and check on it, and if there's anything we can do, either through the HOA or through any county ordinance that may apply, we'll address the issue for sure.
Yeah, one thing to note is we, as the police department, can't enforce HOA rules. I'm sure the HOA does that, just kind of clarifying that. I think what we can do is maybe help facilitate a conversation at an HOA meeting or via this type of Zoom meeting to try to get, everyone kind of working together for the betterment of the homeowners association. I know sometimes those things can get pretty dicey and animated because of people's differing views on, what's important and what's not important. Or the HOA may need to amend their bylaws through their HOA process to do that. That'll allow them a little more teeth in terms of people skirting around the current rules as they are.
Okay, thank you. And we're going to try again. Tamara Conley-Perez, if you'd like to unmute your microphone and see if we can hear your question, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, because it unmuted a little while. I was just asking, I also sent it under the Q&A. So we, last year, one of the officers actually encouraged us to get the flock cameras. We did get the flock cameras at the entrance of Regency 1 and Regency 2 on Quaco. My question is, have they been able to help, and does law enforcement, is it just one person or multiple people that have access to our flock cameras to be able to see any of the cars coming in or out that are tagged or stolen vehicles, et cetera? Have they been any help to law enforcement?
Captain Fandridge?
Yes, sir. The people that have access to the cameras, there's an alert sent out by flock anytime a stolen car, stolen tag, or anything passes those cameras. Those are sent out to all the supervisors, and then they're relayed to the officers on duty. And yes, I believe your camera has been beneficial here lately in the recovery of 1 or 2 stolen vehicles.
So is it a good thing that, I mean, if I could be of help any way as well, to encourage other communities to maybe get the flock cameras for their community as well, like apartment complexes or maybe even other mobile home parks? Is that something that I might can be a help in any way to you guys?
Yes, ma'am. I think they've been very beneficial for CCPD. Many of the other agencies have them as well. They have been a very useful tool and a good, very value added to what we do. So anything that you can do to encourage any of the other neighborhoods, apartment complexes, mobile home parks, to invest in those that can assist us, we would greatly appreciate that.
And I would just like to say one thing. Thank you to Officer White and all of you guys who have did so much for our community in the last year. We've had the book bags, we've had the bike helmets, we've had a lot of activities out here to try to get the community to come together to feel safe. And I think it's really working in our community, and I thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
And Commissioner Kenneth Adams has his hand raised. Commissioner, if you are able to unmute, and we will see if we are able to hear your comments.
Yes, do you hear me?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to thank the chief and his staff for the great job that they do. And Chief, whenever your schedule permits, can we have a sit down so you can, so we can talk about what's going on in the 8th district as well?
Yes, I will reach out to you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And have a good evening.
You too.
And we have several more questions that are coming in on our comment section. Allison Johnson has asked about the correct non-emergency number to use, and she lists 912-652-6920. And I can answer this question. The correct number is 652-6500. If you listen for the prompts, Allison, that will take you to our dispatch center, and they will be able to help you. That's a 24/7 non-emergency number. So if you need an officer but don't need the services of 911, that is who you would call. I believe that's what you mean when you say non-emergency number. And then our office numbers are published as well on our Facebook pages and social media and website. And we have another question in our comments. Phyllis has asked, here in Stone Lake Townhome, we're having trouble with people coming in from other subdivisions and dumping large items next to the trash compactor. We have to pay for someone to haul it away. And I've spoken with Officer White, and there seems to be some confusion because Officer White has explained that perhaps we cannot go after these folks because it's private property. So Phyllis would like suggestions as to what can be done. And so she asked, when it's the own residents of the townhomes, can they, as the residents, go and have some sort of fine, and do they pay? So I'm not sure about the best way, I guess, to handle that on private property.
Well, anything, I mean, just in my experience, anything via HOA sanctions, I would suggest you work with, any counsel that you have to be able to know if you're able to do that through your HOA. I don't know that one way or the other, but it is a question we can pose to Gregory Anderson, who deals with that within the county, and see if there's any county ordinances that may apply reference to the scenario that she presented. So I'll ask Mr. Anderson if there's anything that could be done via ordinance.
Okay, and Michael Vincent has a question. His hand is raised, and Michael, we should be able to hear you if you've unmuted your microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Well, I have a question, but I would like to first say thank you very much to Officer Esquina White. She has been so helpful as the liaison's officer, and we're so happy to have her. If we have any questions, we can call her, and she responds almost immediately. My question is, I see there are a number of stolen cars in West Chatham County, and I'm puzzled about how they're getting stolen. I investigated stolen cars for a major insurance company, and most of the modern cars have immobilizers on them, and they're hard to steal without a key.
Some of the stolen vehicles that we've had stolen, Mr. Benson, have had the keys left in them. I can't say that's for all of them, but either people will leave their keys, a spare set of keys in their car, or they will leave spare keys to their other cars, and we've had 2 cars stolen out of the same residence. So for the other ones, I'm not really sure as the method and mode in which they are taking them. And some of them have been motorcycles that have just been, rolled away.
So do you think, when you say the keys are left in the car, you think that's an accidental theft, or you think there's some intentional motive there?
would classify that as like a crime of opportunity. They probably started out as entering auto, where they were going around pulling door handles. And as they're looking for stuff of value in the car, they've come across keys, and it's become a crime of opportunity that they, got more bang for their buck, as to say, instead of just loose change or whatever, they've had access to the entire car now.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Benson, for your question. I do not see any other questions. I'm looking as we speak. Let's see. So please raise your hand or type something into the comments, because we'll be happy to answer any questions that we receive.
If in the meantime, if I could just make a couple comments, Betsy. First of all, great questions, and truly appreciate the participation tonight. A couple things. I wanted to thank Michael Kegler from the County Manager's Office is on the call. Just wanted to thank him for joining us and being supportive of CCPD. One thing that I think where we can improve upon, meaning CCPD, is we'd really like to get some inroads into the Hispanic community, trying to build some relationships with them. We have a very large Hispanic population in West Chatham, particularly in the mobile home parks, and certainly understanding their fear of law enforcement, at least traditionally. So if anyone out there on the call has either a faith-based leader or community leader in the Hispanic community that we could, sit down and talk with and let them know, what we're about and that we're here for the Hispanic community, I would truly appreciate that.
Chief Hadley, have you had the opportunity to meet Alfonso Ribat? He is the president or chairman of the Hispanic
Yes.
Chamber?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am, I have. We've spoken several times. We probably need to reconnect. So thank you for reminding me of him. I know he's a leader in that community.
And he and another young man, his name is Devin McGrath. Devin McGrath has reached out to me concerning undocumented people that are here. And,
okay.
And he would welcome a meeting as well. We kind of spoke about it, and I told him that I would reach out to you. We were trying to get him. He had worked a little bit with they actually met with Alfonso Ribat, and they are still looking for some type of results on transportation, because if they're undocumented, they cannot drive, they cannot get a driver's license. So those are issues that they're being faced with, that they are looking for some type of results. So if I can, I'll reach out to you offline, and we can schedule a meeting perhaps with them, that we could try to get this dialogue going.
That would be excellent. Thank you so much, Commissioner.
And we do have a few more comments and questions that have come up in the last minute or two. First of all, Orrin Kilgore, thank you. He says your campaign against unlocked cars and storing guns in cars is working. Big decrease here. Thank you. And then Allison Johnson has a question. When an HOA is asked for security footage to help in a case, can the cost charged by the security company for pulling the footage be passed along to the homeowner involved in the incident? Can the person involved be identified to the HOA for charging the proper person?
I don't know the answer to that question. That may be something that, again, the HOA, if they have any counsel, that they vet that through them. I would be reticent to give an opinion on that. I just don't know.
Okay, and Carol Gurley has asked if we could have a campaign to encourage drivers to turn on their headlights during these gray and rainy days. We can certainly do some social media reminders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think we have a intentional campaign, but I think it's a great suggestion, and that's certainly something we can push out on our social media platforms when we know it's going to be a foggy, rainy, gray day in which headlights would maybe prevent some accidents.
Okay, and we're looking now for more raised hands and more comments. Tamara, did you have another question? We may have forgotten to lower your hand, but if you have
No, I did.
okay.
I just wanted to go back to what Chief Hadley was saying. So Officer White came to me we talked about the Hispanic community and how we can come. As you know, Regency Mobile Home Park, we have a big Hispanic community. I've worked a lot in Douglasville, Georgia, and other areas, even out in Las Vegas with Hispanics and the communities and how to come together. One thing that has been helping is the event. She has had the flyers be done in English and in Spanish. The first event they had out here didn't go too well, but the more the word has came out and that they can trust you and that you're not here just to take them, of course, it has really helped. A lot of my Hispanics have came to me and talked to me, and they have told me that, that they feel more safe. They feel like they can call 911 if they need to now. Also, just with the flyers that she's given us in Spanish, just in our welcome folders when someone new moves in, I have it in English and Spanish, basically saying, Chatham County Police Department, they're here for you. This is where you go to report crimes. Having that both in English and Spanish has helped my community. Also for my new move-ins, people coming from other cities, counties, states, just to let them know, having that information in Spanish so where they can go to need help. So I just wanted to let you know that has been helping with my community, especially to come together. And the last event they sold out so quick. They didn't, not sold out, but the helmets and everything were gone so quick. They didn't even know what's in the book bag. Everything has just been a great success out here. So, but it just takes time, a lot of time. I'm here also just to offer any help that I can be of any of you guys, and also to Officer White to work with the Hispanic community, anything that you need from me as well. But just having the information in Spanish has been a big thing here. So.
Well, thank you for the positive feedback. We appreciate that. And we look forward to working with you and the Hispanic community as we go forward.
Thank you.
Commissioner Milton, your hand is raised on our screen. Did you have another comment or question for us? Or that may have been from earlier.
No, I thought I lowered it.
That's okay. We'll lower it for you. Thank you. I do not see any more questions or raised hands. I'll continue to look, but Officer White, Captain Andrich, or Chief Hadley, are there any other topics that you feel we'd like to discuss this evening?
No, I just want to thank Captain Fandrich and Esquina and Assistant Chief Shoup, who's on the line, my team, and everybody that's participated. I think Linda Kramer's also on the line from the County Manager's Office. Just really appreciate all the support from Commission, Manager's Office, and the community. It takes all of us to make public safety better in this community, and we just appreciate the support. And we're going to do our best to be the best that we can be for you, and we look forward to continue conversations and partnerships as we go forward.
I just would like to add that I appreciate all the help that they give us as community, because without their help, there's a lot of times we can't do our job. And if anybody has any type of situation, they are more than welcome to call me, and we will get right on it and see what we can do to help remedy the situation.
And I just want to thank everyone for coming on to the meeting. Being able to engage with the community is a big thing for me. And now with COVID, post-COVID, everything going on, it's pretty hard, but we're getting through it. If you guys have any issues or concerns, you can always call the precinct. Our precinct number is 6940. Just to reiterate, the non-emergency number is 912-652-6500. And for all emergencies, of course, call 911.
Wonderful. Oh, and you know what? It looks, we may have missed a question, and if I missed it, or if we may have answered it in some other discussion, but Gary Siebert did ask earlier how we're dealing with several of the homeless camps located in West Chatham. And if we hit on that while I was dealing with technical issues, then please excuse the repeat.
So we try to keep a good stat of the locations of the homeless camps that we do have in West Chatham. Of course, they pop up sporadically. But whenever we do come into contact with the homeless camp, we have a great partnership with the Savannah Chatham Homeless Authority, where we get the Homeless Authority outreach coordinator to come out to us with the homeless camp and make contact with the individuals living there and offer them as many resources as they possibly have for them. We also get in contact with the private property owner to let them know that a homeless camp has been established on their property. In some cases, they decide to sign a citizens agreement form with us, whereas the citizens agreement form gives us the authority to enforce criminal trespass on private property, which we articulate that to the people living at the homeless camp as well, to let them know that the property is private property, and whether the private property owner is going to allow them to live there or not, it's really up to that private property owner. But as far as giving them the resources, we partner up with the Homeless Authority, as I mentioned, and try to give them as much resources that are available to them.
And Phyllis had a comment that she typed in. She says, I just want to thank everyone for all they do for our community. Chief Hadley, you could not have picked a better liaison officer.
Officer giggles, I agree.
Okay, and I'm doing one last scroll through, and I do not see any other raised hands or comments. Oh, wait. Orrin Kilgore says we're getting unsolicited shopping publications thrown into our driveways, and this is littering. And Bryce Hannon also echoed Phyllis's comments on Officer White. So I guess Orrin would like us to address the unsolicited shopping publications.
I would have to confer with the county attorney to see what, if there's anything under Georgia code or county ordinance that prohibits that. I'm unfamiliar with it. Let us look into that. If Cap Fanders, you could remind me tomorrow, and we'll get an answer back on that aspect or that question.
I might suggest that if the papers are unwanted, if you could maybe make contact with the publication or whoever's having them thrown, and maybe just request that they not throw in your yard or driveway anymore. But we will definitely follow up with any type of ordinance or code section that might apply to that.
If Mr. Kilgore, I saw it flash across the bottom of the screen, if someone will contact him, yes, we will. If you could provide some contact information if a screener doesn't already have it, and we'll get that answer to you, sir.
Okay, I don't believe we have any other questions. So, Officer White, are you ready to wrap up, or do you have any more closing comments? And Orrin, we have your information. Thank you. Just came through.
So I guess we just wanted to thank you all for joining us for this meeting. As I mentioned, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us and we'll get back with you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.